What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Terence Crawford recently appeared on Aiden Ross's live stream, where he shared his honest thoughts on Conor and his boxing performance against Floyd Mayweather. Crawford made it clear that he was impressed by how Conor handled himself in the ring, admitting that the fight went much better than he initially expected. According to Crawford, Conor did real good for a debut boxing match at that level, and even managed to land some clean shots on Floyd. He went as far as saying that Conor performed better against Mayweather than Jake Paul did against Anthony Joshua. Crawford repeated that Conor exceeded his expectations and deserved credit for stepping in and competing the way he did. During the stream, Crawford was also asked whether he would ever consider competing in an MMA fight. He immediately shut that idea down, explaining that he has no interest in MMA because the pay simply is not worth it. Crawford joked that wrestling, kicking, boxing, and throwing elbows all in one fight is too much work for too little money, saying others can have that challenge. While he respected the sport, he made it clear that boxing remains his focus. The conversation then shifted to Dana White, with Crawford acknowledging that Dana being involved in combat sports is cool and praising him as one of the best matchmakers of all time. However, he did not go too deep into that topic before the discussion moved on again. When asked if he watches the UFC, Crawford confirmed that he does, and quickly named John Jones as his favorite fighter, saying he is his guy without hesitation. Aiden Ross then brought up Ilya, but Crawford admitted he had never actually seen him fight before. He sounded genuinely surprised and said he would have to look him up and watch his fights on YouTube later that night. The moment ended with some light laughter, as Crawford continued to show respect for combat sports while staying firmly committed to boxing only. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Shara has sent a clear warning to Arman ahead of their upcoming grappling match. Many fans believe Arman is the favorite to have his hand raised when he faces Shara at the Hype FC event, but the dangerous striker has made it clear this will not be an easy task. The two are set to meet on December 30th in Yerevan, Armenia, in a 6-minute grappling contest that has already drawn plenty of attention. Although Shara competes at middleweight in MMA, Arman is considered a big and powerful lightweight with elite wrestling and grappling credentials. Arman's reputation has only grown this year, as he secured 3 submission victories while competing in grappling bouts. Because of that, many expect Arman's wrestling to be the deciding factor. However, speaking recently to Red Corner MMA, Shara dismissed those expectations and warned that past wins will not matter in this matchup. Shara explained that December 30th is the only date that matters, and those 6 minutes will define everything. He said he is different from Arman's previous opponents and is willing to go all the way to the end. Shara compared himself to a pirate, saying it is not easy to drown or choke him out. He claimed many have tried, but none have succeeded, adding that the challenge excites him and motivates him to push further. According to Shara, facing Arman is a big experience and exactly the kind of test he wants. He also noted that Arman's popularity and hype make the matchup beneficial for him. Shara said the bout allows him to fine-tune his wrestling and continue improving that part of his game. He believes the contest will be physically demanding and insisted those 6 minutes are going to be very hard for Arman. Shara added that it will be interesting to see how his own grappling holds up against such a respected opponent. It is worth noting that Shara currently holds a takedown defense rate of 71% in the UFC, which some fans may use to draw conclusions. Shara was also asked about Arman once again missing out on a lightweight title opportunity, despite submitting Dan Hooker in his last fight. While referencing the upcoming January 24 bout between Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight title, Shara suggested the UFC's business interests played a role. He explained that new sponsorships and Western market appeal matter, pointing out Gaethje's veteran status and American fan base, as well as Pimblett's popularity and hype. Shara added that Arman had his chance before, and missing it ended up playing a dirty joke on him. Moving on to another news, Islam Makhachev has reacted to the UFC cutting Rinat Fakhretdinov, a decision that continues to spark debate across the MMA community. Rinat's departure has raised plenty of eyebrows, especially considering his strong run inside the octagon. It was recently confirmed that the UFC chose not to re-sign him, and the news quickly led to backlash online. Many fans pointed out that Rinat posted a 6-1 record during his time with the promotion, which is far from a resume that usually leads to being released. On top of that, Rinat was coming off an impressive 54-second stoppage victory over Andreas Gustafsson back in September. Performances like that are typically seen as momentum builders, not exit points. However, others were quick to argue that while Rinat was effective, several of his fights were not exactly crowd pleasers. He was also not known for delivering memorable moments on the microphone, something that plays a growing role in today's UFC landscape. Islam touched on this point when he was asked by a Russian outlet whether he was surprised by Rinat's exit. Islam explained that the UFC needs fighters they can sell, fighters who can generate attention and money. He said Rinat would simply go out there, win his fights, and stay quiet. Islam added that he now tells younger fighters at his gym that the UFC does not just need athletes who beat everyone without saying much. According to him, fighters must learn English, learn how to sell themselves, and learn how to be interesting to the public. Islam pointed out that American audiences love entertainment, referencing how popular professional wrestling is and how well the show aspect is organized. He explained that fans are drawn to storylines and personality just as much as results. Because of that, fighters need to understand how to put on a show, not only inside the cage but outside of it as well. While Islam did not directly say this only applies to wrestling or grappling heavy fighters, it is widely understood that those athletes often face this challenge the most. This situation has drawn comparisons to past examples, including how Colby Covington leaned into a loud, pro-wrestling style persona after realizing that winning alone was not enough to secure his place. The UFC's decision has continued to receive criticism, but it also highlights the harsh reality of modern fight promotion. Moving on to another news. Bruno Ferreira has reacted after Paulo Costa officially pulled out of their scheduled fight at UFC 326. Earlier reports confirmed that Costa was no longer set to face Ferreira, and as of now, there is still no official explanation for why the bout fell apart. Despite the lack of clarity, the MMA community reacted strongly, with many fans expressing frustration and disappointment over yet another withdrawal connected to Costa. A large portion of the fan base pointed out that this feels like a familiar pattern. Some even went as far as calling for the UFC to remove Costa from the roster altogether. While no official reason has been given, his history of pulling out of fights quickly became the main talking point. Baralho weighed in on the situation, saying he was not surprised at all. He joked that it is not even 2026 yet, and Costa has already pulled out of a fight, adding that it feels like a new year with the same story. Baralho also suggested the matchup was bad for Costa anyway, arguing that Ferreira did not carry the same name value. He added that Costa should instead wait for bigger fights, like potential rematches with Izzy or Strickland. Online reactions became even harsher as fans piled on. Some sarcastically claimed that if there were a championship belt for pulling out of fights, Costa would be the undisputed champion. Others openly called for the UFC to cut him, bring back different fighters, or even push Costa toward retirement. Many fans said they were tired of his inactivity and constant withdrawals, calling this an embarrassing start to the year, despite it still being 2025. After the news broke publicly, Bruno Ferreira responded on Instagram with a blunt message. In his post, he took shots at Costa and then shifted focus toward finding a replacement opponent. Ferreira directly called out Roman Dolidze as a possible substitute for UFC 326. In his caption, Ferreira wrote that the weak link was forced out of the fight, adding that it was nothing new for Costa. He made it clear he had no personal issue with Dolidze and said he wanted to put on an exciting show for the fans, emphasizing that Dolidze is not soft. In a follow-up video, Ferreira addressed the situation again, saying Costa pulling out did not surprise him at all. He claimed many people predicted this outcome when the fight was first announced, unless an injury occurred. Ferreira ended by calling the situation a disgusting lack of respect toward himself, the UFC, and the fans. Moving on to another news. Concerns have started to rise around the upcoming matchup between Arman and Shara. While the fight has been heavily promoted and discussed, things suddenly appeared uncertain from Arman's point of view. During a recent live stream, Arman suggested the bout could be in jeopardy after Shara did not arrive in the country as scheduled. Arman pointed out that Shara never flew in, calling the situation strange and even sarcastically joking that it was odd behavior for someone nicknamed a pirate. He hinted that Shara might be scared or that he simply missed his flight, adding that all the talk leading up to the fight might have been empty words. Arman continued by saying that everything would become clearer at the upcoming press conference. He implied that if Shara failed to show up, then perhaps his nickname should be changed. Those comments quickly gained attention and did not go unnoticed by Shara's camp. Not long after, Shara's team responded publicly to Arman's remarks. Shara's coach, Gor Azizian, addressed the situation and explained that the original flight booked for both of them had been canceled. Because of that, the team decided to pay for new tickets out of their own pocket and confirmed they were already on their way. Gor did not stop there and took a jab back at Arman, telling him to stop talking rubbish. He added that Arman's comments reminded him of someone complaining about back pain before an important fight, clearly implying excuses were being made ahead of time. The back and forth only fueled the tension further. Shortly after his coach's response, Shara himself added to the drama by posting an Instagram story. The post showed a subtle but pointed message with a caption that read, "Drink this tea twice a day and your back won't hurt." The post was widely seen as a direct shot at Arman and his comments. With the event approaching and emotions running high, it is clear that the tension between Arman and Shara Bullet is continuing to build, and the situation has quickly turned personal as fight week heats up. Moving on to another news, Bryce Mitchell is at it again. He recently shared a new video on his Instagram page, once again diving into his controversial beliefs and addressing people who say they do not care whether the earth is flat or not. In the clip, Mitchell explained why he believes people should start caring about the topic and how he thinks it directly affects everyone. He mocked the common response he hears, where people claim it does not matter because they still go to work, pay taxes, and live their daily lives. According to Mitchell, that logic is completely wrong. He argued that if people truly understood that the Earth is flat, they would also understand that something massive is being hidden at the North Pole. He claimed there is a so-called black rock there, which he said is more than 3 times higher than Mount Everest, estimating it to be over 80,000 feet tall. Mitchell went on to claim that this structure generates free electricity all day, every day. He insisted this is the real reason why every compass on Earth always points north, saying constant electrical and magnetic energy is being produced there at all times. He added that the North Pole is deliberately hidden so regular people cannot access that energy and live for free. Mitchell then claimed the Earth was designed like the Garden of Eden, with infinite food, infinite electricity, infinite oil, and unlimited resources. He argued a small group of people controls it all, while most others ignore knowledge and wisdom. He ended by saying that denying the topic does not make it irrelevant, insisting it affects everyone, and that he was only trying to inform people. He closed the video by wishing viewers a great day, while doubling down on his message once again today. Moving on to another news, Dana White and the UFC have been hit with a new antitrust lawsuit that has already ordered White to testify. The case is being led by former light heavyweight Misha Cirkunov and centers on disputes over fighter contracts and alleged anti-competitive practices within the promotion. Judge Richard Boulware issued the order on December 18th, scheduling a spoliation hearing for February 4th to 5th, with White set to testify first, followed by UFC Vice President Tracy Long. Ahead of that, a separate hearing on January 6th will address outstanding discovery disputes and define the scope of the spoliation proceedings. Both sides have also been instructed to submit a joint status report by December 30th, outlining their positions and any remaining disagreements. Cirkunov's lawsuit specifically targets UFC contracts that include mandatory arbitration clauses and class action waiver provisions, arguing that these terms unfairly limit fighters' legal options. The filing also seeks to address delays and unresolved issues connected to a broader antitrust case covering the period from 2017 to the present, the Johnson case. That matter remains ongoing after years of litigation. In contrast, a separate antitrust case covering 2010 to 2017, originally filed in 2014, was settled for $375 million. Recently, the UFC moved to deny class certification in the Johnson case, pointing to arbitration clauses in many fighter agreements. Cirkunov's lawsuit aims to overcome those barriers, potentially reopening key arguments about how fighters are contracted, compensated. Moving on to another news. Islam Makhachev is still targeting a fight with Kamaru Usman next. Despite the UFC welterweight division having several contenders who are worthy of a title opportunity, Makhachev believes Usman would defeat all of them convincingly. Speaking to a Russian outlet, he explained that Usman's experience at the highest level separates him from the rest of the field. According to Makhachev, that championship pedigree, fight IQ, and ability to handle pressure make Usman the biggest threat at 170 pounds. He added that many current contenders are talented, but still lack the proven consistency Usman has shown over years at the top. Because of that, Makhachev views Usman as the most dangerous and meaningful matchup available. The lightweight champion sees the bout as a true test rather than an easy path, which is why he continues to push for it next. For Makhachev, facing Usman represents legacy, challenge, and a stylistic test.